Chitra and this is my husband Arvind. He has actually written a book. I was very surprised, I didn't know that he was going to write a book, but let's ask him about it. First of all, why did you decide to write a book?
Because I was reading these suktas from the Rigveda, this PURUSHA Sukta and then this Nasadiya Sukta, and they are kind of very fascinating. They describe how the creation happened and so on. So it's been there for about a couple of years in the mind, but eventually I thought maybe if we can weave it around as a story, it might help. Of course, you guys helped me a lot to do that, so that's how it started.
Okay, so you started writing, and then you decided you want to publish it eventually.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
It doesn't cost much these days.
Yes, it's a lot easier. Yes, of course. So you were talking about the suktas, right? The Nasadiya Sukta and the PURUSHA Sukta. That forms the basis for the book PURUSHA.
Yes.
Is that right?
Right.
So I will ask you more about the title later, but if you can just give a brief explanation about what these suktas are, where they're from, and why that, how that kind of made you create a story, a fictional story, that's what this is, right?
So, these two are actually somewhat different from the other regular suktas in the Rigveda. Many people consider these to be later additions to the Rigveda, and Nasadiya Sukta talks about the creation of the universe in a very concise way, but it is also very interesting in the sense that it doesn't really say whether it was done by a creator or not done by a creator. So it leaves enough questions for one to think about. PURUSHA Sukta, on the other hand, is very celebrated. So most of the Hindu ceremonies, they actually recite this PURUSHA Sukta, but they don't even, the Sukta does not mention any name of the god.
Oh, okay.
So now these two are, though they are very fascinating, they are kind of abstract too. But somehow the idea of weaving some kind of a fiction around it to talk about how the universe might end and how a new one might begin sounded kind of fascinating.
So that is your imagination.
Yes. So I started reading about cosmology, about the Big Bang theory, how it comes about, and there are several theories about how the universe will end. There's one about something called the heat death, and the Hindus never believe that there is no beginning or end. They just said that it's going to start, become big, and then collapse and start again.
So that's that starting point or seed, as you call it in your book, is that right?
Yeah, they call it Hiranyagarbha, but there is also a theory which probably says that even before that there was something, and it finished and then came back again and so on.
So the origin of the seed is still not known. Is that what it is?
No, and if you look at the Nasadiya Sukta, it says who knows. And Sanskrit being the language where, those days, what those words really meant, nobody can say.
Right.
It's like, painting of Da Vinci. You look at it and you make your own interpretations. Right? So here the suktas are like that. And each word in Sanskrit has so many meanings. You cannot really know what the author meant.
Right. So coming back to the title PURUSHA, why did you select PURUSHA?
Somehow I had started the PURUSHA Sukta first, and then the Nasadiya, and then also the PURUSHA seemed like one of those entities which has no real affiliation to a particular kind of god. It probably, it doesn't have to be even Hinduism, right? It just says
it's not a religious.
Yeah,
it's not a religious context.
Yeah, you could even interpret as an entity through whom the universe was created, and probably that can belong to any religion or any
and
culture.
gender free, of course.
Yeah, although the PURUSHA Sukta refers to as a hymn, but it could be gender free.
Right, because there is a mention in the course of the book of a particular character who is referred to as the commander.
And here there is no gender.
Yeah, exactly, it's they and them and their. So you mentioned cosmology. So there's a lot of like science plus what we know as mythology, kind of a combination of both these factors. And there is no real sense of time, matter, energy. I mean, they're all like it's a little like don't know where your fiction starts and science ends, kind of a feeling. And more importantly, the imagery is very beautiful. I really like the way the imageries are created, at least in my mind when I read the book.
So the science was a conscious attempt, but I would not call it authentic science as you would call it, because a real cosmologist might dissect it and dissect it and feel that there are lots of factual errors. So I would leave it to be even like science fiction. It's more of that direction. Now, how it uses there is no real mythology in this, because the names that are used,
the names like Ananta Shesha, Adishesha.
Yeah. So that's again, I had read something somewhere that one of the interpretations of Shesha, as you know in the Sanskrit word, although it refers to the serpent on which the deity Vishnu is lying down, but it also, the literal meaning of Shesha is remainder.
Remainder, yes.
Right? Shesha literally means what is left.
Yes.
And Ananta means never ending. So that kind of is lent an interesting concept that something that never ends, it's there. So then it was kind of easy to see that whether the universe is there or not, this is still there.
Okay.
Right? And scientists keep referring to something called the dark matter or dark energy, for which they are led to get conclusive evidence of.
Okay.
So somehow it kind of made sense fictional sense to marry this Ananta Shesha, which is an eternal remainder, or the Adi Shesha, which is the first remainder, to this sense of a dark matter or dark energy, as you would call. So it's still a fictional account. It's not authentic science.
Yes.
So there's no claim that it is authentic science.
Yes.
There is no claim that it is mythology.
Yes.
The names are kind of incidental, but they kind of lend good meanings.
About the boat that is created, which refers to the journey of the commander from wherever. See, there's no concept of time as such. So there was this journey, and then went through this space, and it's not even space, to reach a particular entity that you said. That whole journey, I actually found it quite fascinating, the journey itself, because that was like almost like watching a fantasy movie for me. Yeah, it was, because it's quite emotional at certain points. Like, as it is, of course, we're human, so you kind of like relate to any character, there is some humanness in it.
Right.
So when you created this character and then that character's journey began, so did you have an idea as to it's going to end up there, or was it something that you kind of like figured it on the way as you were writing? So did you have that whole frame, or was it?
So there was some kind of an idea, because before the universe had to be created, it had to be killed.
Okay.
So then the concept that the universe is expanding, ever expanding, and it becomes so thin that its density becomes so low that nothing new can get created beyond a certain point. So even and then the stars, we know the cycle of stars. Some of them, become black holes if they're massive enough. Otherwise, they just blow up. So that happens, but then it was like beyond that. I could not get it in cosmology, but it was more like it keeps happening, nothing new gets formed, and what is existing will either spew everything out and die, or become black holes which will start pulling things around it into it. And then I recently read a theory where a black hole which is with a lot of magnetic fields which keep moving all around. So that kind of gave an idea that the black holes keep moving, scouting for other black holes to eat, other matters to eat.
Sounds really.
And eventually, they keep gobbling up, and bigger ones come.
Yeah.
And eventually, there's a big one. But the idea of the seed
Hmm.
and floating in the cosmic sea. Cosmic
Yeah,
world.
right.
That is there in the Nasadiya Sutta. Nasadiya Sutta talks about the one that is breathing without air,
Hmm.
flow, in the cosmic sea.
This
The
is the one.
cosmic-
This is the seed that blinks.
Yeah, that's the interpretation. Yeah, but yeah, in the cosmic waters, it talks about there was those cosmic waters in which the one without one stayed without breathing, lived without breathing, right?
Right.
So that kind of gave the idea that now there was this eternal concept of the Shesha who would not die, and so it kind of meant that he's kind of the keeper of the sea, floating around in the ocean. So now in order to float around, I had to make a boat.
So that's where the book came from.
Beyond that, I was not sure initially how from there, that was the beginning, and then from there I was not sure how to trace it back, how it's going to end. That was kind of happened on the way.
Yes. Where do we get this book?
So the book is available on Kindle store, Amazon Kindle, across all the Amazon sites.
Okay.
The Kindle version is there, and I think the US and UK Amazon sites have a paperback version also. So please do read and write your review and give your comments,
Yes.
and I'll be very grateful to you for your review comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So in the description box as well, we'll have all these details as to where to get the book Purusha and how to purchase it, from which app, from which site, and all of that. And of course, he's written another book, which is...
Well, it's called The Journey of Learning. It's kind of an adaptation. I would say, at least in my mind, a very close adaptation of Valmiki's Ramayana, the first canto, which is called the Balakanda. The thing that makes that interesting is there are a lot of stories interwoven into it, and
apart from the main narrative, there are lots of other stories which are connected with it.
and that book is also available on Kindle Store.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
It's
too.
called The Journey of Learning.
Yes. Okay, that's great. So we'll have another session for the journey of learning
Oh,
another
wow.
day, of course.
Okay.
And until then, all of you please take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I can wind it up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a very... You were scared when I said...
So what